This presentation will look at supporting your endogenous antioxidants. The endogenous antioxidants are the ones that your body synthesizes itself. They are very important and they are the strongest antioxidants we have. And we'll be looking at this in this presentation. In this slide, we will answer the question, what is oxidative stress? I will show two short videos. The first one is by Dr. Richard Bloomer, an expert in exercise physiology. And the second one is by Dr. Keith Block, an expert in cancer.
Dr. Bloomer, what is oxidative stress and how is it related to inflammation?
Oxidative stress really is an imbalance between the production of free radicals, or what we refer to as reactive oxygen species, and the antioxidant defense mechanism in such a way that the free radicals overwhelm antioxidant defense. Now, antioxidant defense can be comprised of endogenous antioxidants, certain enzymes or other antioxidants that we have within our body, as well as exogenous antioxidants that we may consume through whole foods as well as some nutritional supplements.
All right, so the antioxidants are being overwhelmed by the free radicals in the oxidative stress situation. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So when that situation arises in which the production of these radicals overwhelms the body's ability to protect against these radicals, we may see oxidation of important molecules such as proteins, lipids, DNA, glutathione, etc. And we know that that increase in the oxidation of those biomolecules is associated, not necessarily a cause and effect, but is associated with a variety of human diseases. In fact, some individuals have gone so far as to say all human disease is associated with oxidative stress and the accompanying inflammation. Because typically we see an inflammatory response which may produce more free radicals in association with the oxidized molecules that we might measure. So individuals that are measuring, for example, markers of inflammation such as C-reactive protein oftentimes will show a similar increase in some other molecule like F2-isoprostane, which is a lipid-specific biomarker of oxidative stress. But it's a relationship. There's not necessarily a cause and effect. We don't know whether or not the ROS are causing the disease. Perhaps the individuals with disease simply present with higher levels of these ROS. So there's some animal studies suggesting more of a cause and effect relationship, but those sort of data, to my knowledge, are not currently available in humans.
And what is the main cause of oxidative stress? Or are there many, many causes?
Yeah, there really are. I mean, we can get into environmental causes. For example, ozone, cigarette smoke is one. We've shown that in several of our studies, as well as other investigators have shown that. Absolutely. If there's one thing that I can get across to listeners right now, is that if you're a cigarette smoker, and it doesn't simply have to be an active smoker. We know that there are data in passive cigarette smokers, but cigarette smoke exposure is associated with a significant increase in the production of radical species, which does indeed, number one, cause an increase in the oxidation of important molecules, and secondary to that, it causes a significant depletion in the body's endogenous antioxidant protective mechanism. So that would be one population. When we talk about are antioxidants necessary for individuals, there's some debate over that. I think it would really have to be specific to the population and what the individuals are exposed to. But certainly individuals who are smokers, and if you're a diabetic who's a cigarette smoker, I think the situation is more clear. Individuals likely need some sort of assistance, and that assistance may come from a good quality blended antioxidant. But in addition to environmental causes, we know that physical stress absolutely causes an increase in radical species, i.e. exercise. Now, some individuals get confused by that because they simply say, well, I thought exercise was good. But what's important to keep in mind, is that a slight and transient short-term increase in the production of radicals seems to act as a triggering mechanism or a signal to allow for the body to upregulate its own natural endogenous antioxidant enzyme production. That's very important because the increase that we see in these ROS with acute exercise is relatively short-lived. Individuals who are exposed to chronic cigarette smoke, they have these elevated biomolecules chronically all throughout the day. So a short-term increase in ROS production, for example, coming from regular strenuous exercise, appears actually to be a positive in that it allows our body to sense the need to increase its own endogenous antioxidant protective mechanisms so that when you are exposed to other assaults that cause the increase in ROS, that you're better protected during those times. And that's really important for people to understand. We don't want people saying, well, I'm not going to exercise now, excuse me, because of that condition. Exercise is extremely beneficial. I would go so far as to say from a physical point of view, it's the most beneficial thing a person can do for themselves. Sure.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oxidation is what we all unfortunately need and yet suffer from. This is free radicals, which are loose electrons on a molecule that can fly around and hit other tissue and actually cause more free radicals. So it kind of has a chain reaction effect. The easiest analogy for people to understand is driving down a freeway and having a blowout. And that blowout is like a loose electron, and it sends your car careening into another car that then might careen into a third car, and you get the chain, right? And when we eat foods, if we have a rich phytochemical antioxidant diet filled with all different kinds of colors of fruits and vegetables, you actually lay a foundation of protection where these free radicals are stabilized, and so there's not blowouts, there's not loose electrons around. Now, the problem with oxidative stress is we know that cancers require it to grow. And in fact, mutation occurs from free radicals crashing into DNA and actually causing a defect. And those mutations can take an otherwise quiet cancer cell and turn up the heat, making them more aggressive. And as that starts to happen, you can get actually a much more aggressive disease. Even going through conventional treatment that's successful, without addressing the oxidative stress, way down the road, those leftover cells, the residual cells, can rear their heads up again, and they have the risk of actually becoming a more aggressive cancer in the future. And so putting patients on regimens to correct oxidative stress, which is measurable through a number of laboratory testing, that allows for one factor of the biochemical environment to be more optimized as opposed to some of the disruptions that occur. Now, also understand that even something as simple as psychological stress or physical stress or chemical stress from a drug can cause oxidation to go up, which can trigger inflammation to go up, which can drive growth factors and angiogenesis, new vascular supply to cancers. So these chain reactions are really critical to correct. And from my real focus over the last 3 decades of work, we're really interested in changing the biochemical environment of our patients as much as we are correcting the molecular environment and targeting any defects that exist.
So as we saw in the last slide, oxidative stress is inherent within our body, both in metabolic processes that are just normal and also via toxins such as smoke, mercury, pesticides, fumes, pollution, etc. So a war is being waged by every cell of your body. It is called oxidative stress. And as we saw, it's a condition where the antioxidants in the body cannot cope with the free radicals generated. The free radicals are winning. When this is the case, it is believed to be implicated in more than 60 degenerative diseases. Now, our antioxidant system includes both antioxidants made in the body, endogenous, and antioxidants that we obtain from our diet or supplements, exogenous. It is widely accepted that antioxidants made in the body are far more potent in preventing free radical damage than antioxidants from food sources. Now, to illustrate this point, if you look at the endogenous antioxidants, specifically superoxide dismutase, which we'll look at in the next few slides, or abbreviated SOD, SOD, it can literally quench billions of free radicals per minute. And it can continue to do this at this extraordinary rate for 3 to 4 days before needing to be replaced by another SOD molecule. So think about that. One SOD molecule is able to quench billions of free radicals per minute. It can do this for 3 to 4 days before needing a replacement. On the other hand, if you look at a molecule of vitamin C, one molecule of vitamin C can quench one single free radical, and that's it. It's done. It can do no more than that. And it's so comparing now to make understand, vitamin C, though, not implying that vitamin C is useless. What this says, though, is that with respect to antioxidant activity, SOD is much more powerful than vitamin C. But vitamin C may have other properties that it works in the body beyond being an antioxidant. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, the other point that's important is the body's production of endogenous antioxidants decline as we grow older. Okay, now this slide is going to be an important slide to understand. Let's look at the first point. The decrease in endogenous antioxidants is considered to be a significant contributor to aging and to the onset of chronic age-related diseases. So what this says is that as you get older, your endogenous antioxidants go down. And as these endogenous antioxidants go down, the onset of chronic diseases goes up. Now, we're not sure if the endogenous antioxidants go down simply because our bodies just cannot produce as much as we get older, or because as we get older we have diseases that drain our endogenous antioxidants, so they go down because of being overloaded with disease. Nonetheless, it is true that they go down with age and that these chronic diseases start appearing. So it's a very important point to remember that endogenous antioxidants go down with age, and it is believed to be a significant contributor to aging and onset of chronic age-related diseases. Now, there's good evidence that boosting cellular levels of endogenous antioxidants with supplements could help control and prevent age-related diseases, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and aging. So naturally, if our endogenous antioxidants are going down as we age, if we can find ways to boost the levels of these endogenous antioxidants, we would expect a better health outcome. Now, the important endogenous antioxidants are as follows, and these are the ones that we're going to look at in this presentation. there's the antioxidant enzymes. These are enzymes. They make things happen. They make reactions happen. Superoxide dismutase, abbreviated SOD, catalase, abbreviated CAT, and glutathione peroxidase, abbreviated GPX. These are enzymes and they are very, very, very powerful antioxidants. We next get to the other one is glutathione. Glutathione is also a very, very powerful antioxidant. Then we step down a bit in terms of power and we come down to coenzyme Q10, lipoic acid, and melatonin. SOD is arguably the most crucial antioxidant in our body, as it is responsible for disarming the most dangerous free radicals of all, the highly reactive superoxide radicals. Superoxide radicals, or anions, negatively charged atoms, are produced when oxygen gains an excess electron. This occurs through normal metabolic processes, such as the catalytic conversion of various molecules by enzymes. So the point here is superoxide radicals, they're dangerous, but they're naturally occurring as part of our metabolic process. And SOD is the antioxidant that neutralizes it. And it works specifically with CAT and GPX. And this synergism works as follows. SOD is responsible for catalyzing the conversion of superoxide to elemental oxygen and to hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, though, is itself a pro-oxidant compound, but it is subsequently converted by the enzymes CAT and GPX to simple water and oxygen. So what happens within our cells is that superoxide radicals are generated. SOD converts them to oxygen and hydrogen peroxide, and then CAT and GPX convert them to simple water and oxygen. And this process goes on and on and on, and as long as you got enough SOD, CAT, and GPX in your body, the superoxide radicals are kept under control. Okay, we're going to now look at a study done to see the effect of superoxide dismutase SOD versus age. The red is the title of the study. You can always once again Google it and find out, read it more. The abstract is shown. As always, I will not read the entire abstract. You can read it at your leisure. I will have subsequent slides to discuss the summary of it. I will read the first few lines of the summary of the study because it is educational. Aging is associated with impaired exercise capacity and vascular endothelium-dependent dilation, the latter mediated by oxidative stress and reduced nitric oxide bioavailability. The antioxidant enzyme extracellular superoxide dismutase binds to the endothelial wall via a heparin binding domain and protects nitric oxide from inactivation by superoxide. What does this mean? It simply means SOD protects the endothelium lining of your arteries. The endothelium lining of your arteries is a thin lining through which the blood flows. And there's nitric oxide in that endothelium lining, and it gives the ability of the vessel walls to relax, and it's necessary for proper endothelium functioning. The superoxide radical destroys the nitric oxide. but the sod protects nitric oxide from inactivation by superoxide. So sod is very critical to the endothelial lining of your arteries. Okay. Now there was two groups in this study, both considered healthy. A young sedentary group, average age 22, and an older sedentary group, average age 62. And they measured the extracellular sod activity in these two groups, and they also measured the endothelium dependent dilation in these two groups. And we'll look at the results in the next slide. So here are the results of that study. There's two charts there. The one on the left shows the sod activity versus the two age groups, and the one on the right is the endothelium dependent dilation versus the two age groups. So looking at the one on the left, the sod activity, you can see that the young group, the 22-year-old group, had a sod activity of 14. And we don't really have to worry about the units here. We're just interested in comparing the two. And the older group, the 62-year-olds, had a sod activity of 5.4. That is very big drop in sod activity from the two groups. I mean, it's about 33, 1/3. The older group had only a 1/3 sod activity relative to the young group. So there you have a very definitive pattern of sod activity decreasing with age and decreasing quite drastically. We're not talking going from 14 to 11 or 12. It's 14 to 5.4. Next, on the right hand side, the chart shows the consequences of this. Because there's less sod, the nitric oxide in the endothelium is not functioning as well, and the whole endothelium is not functioning as well. And as a result of that, the endothelium dependent dilation doesn't function as well. And once again, the young group had a EDD functioning at 7.4, whereas the old group had a functioning at 5.4. And once again, that's significant. And I don't know if you watched the other presentation on atherosclerosis can be reversed, but if you did, you would remember that sod by itself, with no other agents, was able to reverse atherosclerosis. And you have to keep that in mind. That's a very important study, and it shows how powerful this antioxidant we have in our bodies is. But it goes down with age. The conclusion from the researchers was that this provides the first evidence that extracellular sod activity is reduced with aging in healthy humans and may contribute to oxidative stress, associated vascular endothelial dysfunction, and impaired exercise capacity. You do not want to have endothelial dysfunction. It is going to cause the atherosclerosis. It's going to cause stiffening of the arteries. It's just bad news. And sod is a tremendous protector of the endothelium. And unfortunately, it goes down with age. So since sod decreases in our bodies as we get older, how can we support it? Well, if we look at foods, several foods contain sod, but these foods cannot boost sod because the stomach acid destroys the sod contained within foods. So basically, sod is 100% endogenous. While it exists in foods, it never makes it past the stomach acid. So we have to look at supplementation. And there's two ways to supplement. You can supplement with sod supplement directly, or you can supplement with nutrients that boost your body's production of sod. There is a sod supplement that we've discussed before. It's called glycodin. Unlike in food, this molecule has been wrapped in a wheat protein to protect it from being destroyed during digestion. So this way the sod supplement actually gets into your system. This is a supplement that was used in a study that showed that it could reverse atherosclerosis, and it was a 500 milligram dose. There are several compounds that can increase your body's production of sod. Vitamin E, especially gamma tocopherol, even though alpha tocopherol does a good job too. Vitamin C is very good at upregulating sod. Milk thistle is very good at upregulating sod, especially in the liver. Melatonin helps upregulate sod. It does so specifically by turning on genes in your brain which increase the production of sod. So in the brain, melatonin is very good at upregulating sod. And the other ones are to a lesser extent, but there's garlic, taurine, quercetin, the herb bacopa, zinc, manganese, copper, and selenium. These are just basic raw materials that the body uses. These minerals are the basic raw materials that it uses to produce sod. So it's good to have enough minerals in this, and that's why a multivitamin, multimineral, along with a good diet is essential for regulating all your endogenous antioxidants, and also CoQ10. So if you're going to do supplementation, if you want to go with sod directly, that is a very good way to do it. And glycodin is the best because it has been shown to actually go through the stomach acid without being destroyed. But you also can supplement with the vitamin E and vitamin C, which you should anyways. And milk thistle, very important for your liver, increases the sod there. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the antioxidant enzymes SOD, CAT, and GPX are very, very, very powerful antioxidants that our body makes. But our body makes another very, very, very powerful antioxidant, and that is called glutathione, often abbreviated GSH. It functions at basically three levels. It functions as an antioxidant protection, it is for detoxification, and for immune fortification. As far as antioxidant protection, glutathione is known as the master antioxidant because it not only stops free radicals in their tracks, it recycles other antioxidants such as vitamin C and E. And this is a very important point. It makes more use of the vitamin C and E that is in your body by being able to recycle it, so that you can get away with less. Not that you would want to take less, but you could get away with less as long as your glutathione levels were high. A testament to its importance is that every single cell of the human body, no exception, as well as the fluid outside of cells, contains glutathione. Every single cell of the human body contains glutathione. It is just fundamental, that fundamental. In its role in detoxification, it has the unique ability to bind to organic toxins, heavy metals, solvents, pesticides, and helps the body excrete these substances in either urine or bile. The highest amounts of glutathione are found in the liver and the kidneys, which are responsible for the removal of toxic components. Glutathione is also present in high amounts in the lung lining, where it protects against airborne pollutants, and the intestinal lining, where it bars the absorption of industrial chemicals. Its role in immune fortification happens in two ways. First and foremost, it plays a central role in the proper function of white blood cells, including T-cell lymphocytes, which are the frontline soldiers of the immune system. Second, there is some evidence that glutathione stimulates immune cells' natural killing ability. So it both is able to make the white blood cells function better to protect your immune system, and secondly, it apparently has the ability to make your immune cells, have a more powerful killing ability, and that's important. So glutathione is a very, very important, very, very potent antioxidant, and we'll look more at in the next few slides. And here's a chart of blood glutathione levels versus age. The y-axis is the relative blood glutathione levels. The reference is used. The age group under 40 is given an arbitrary 100% relative value, and everything will be compared to that under 40 group. So the other groups are ages 40 to 59, 60 to 79, and 80 to 99. So when you get down to the 40 to 59 group, there's a small drop in glutathione. It's not terribly big. It's 85% of what it used to be when you were less than 40. However, once you hit 60, and in that group 60 to 79, the average is 55% relative to the people under 40. So you're down to half as much glutathione as you used to have when you were under 40, as a general average. Now, something quite remarkable seems to happen in the 80 to 99 group that sort of does not at first glance make sense, but we will make sense out of it. The glutathione average suddenly goes up to 80%, almost back to where the same average as the 85% that was in the 40 to 59 group. Now, the explanation for this is not a contrary trend of lowering of glutathione with age, but what happens is that in the bullet there, in the 60 to 79 group, what happens is you have selective death of the most GSH deficient persons is the explanation for the relatively high levels of GSH in the very elderly compared to the 60 to 79 age group. That means basically that the people who died in the 60 to 79 group, they were very glutathione deficient, very low. But once you get rid of those people, sort of, in terms of numerically, then what remains is the people with the higher glutathione levels, and they are the survivors. They've made it now to 80 to 99 because, partly anyways, they have high glutathione levels. And that's why there's this apparent anomaly in the slope of this curve, that you suddenly, the 80 to 89 group is as strong as the 40 to 59 group. It's because if you're going to get to 80 to 99, you have to have a high glutathione level. And if you don't, then you're going to be lost most likely in the 60 to 79 age bracket. Okay, so this is a very interesting chart, very interesting revelation. It shows that your glutathione level may in fact be one of the very important markers for a key to longevity. So how are the ways that you can boost your glutathione levels? So we first look at food. And glutathione does appear in foods. It is both an endogenous antioxidant and also an exogenous antioxidant, meaning it comes from food and or supplements. In general, these are the general categories they found in the studies. They found that dairy products, cereals, and breads are generally low in GSH. Fruits and vegetables have moderate to high amounts of GSH, depending on which fruit and which vegetable, but they're a good source of GSH. Freshly prepared meats are relatively high in GSH. Frozen foods are about the same as fresh foods, but processed foods go way down in GSH. In the United States, the usual dietary intakes of glutathione span a wide range from 3 milligrams to nearly 250 milligrams a day. However, most people obtain only about 50 to 60 milligrams from their daily diet. The other way to boost your glutathione levels is via supplements. And you can boost your glutathione levels by taking either a glutathione supplement directly, and Citria glutathione, that's the brand name, is considered to be the best. It's been used in clinical trials. It's pharmaceutical grade and has basically no impurities, and that's why it's used. You can get it at health food stores, and that will boost your glutathione. So it's the actual glutathione molecule itself. Or you can take precursors or boosters of glutathione, and here's a long list of them. Some of them are more powerful than others. N-acetylcysteine is one. It's got some drawbacks to it, that it has some side effects potentially at higher doses. So it's one I chose not to use. The vitamins boost glutathione. Vitamins D3. If you ever have to guess something, guess vitamin D3. It's usually going to be a right answer. Vitamin D3, vitamin C, and vitamin E all boost glutathione. Whey protein is a great booster of glutathione. Lipoic acid is a great booster of glutathione because it also helps recirculate glutathione. Milk thistle is a boost glutathione, especially in the liver. And then you go through all the other ones. There's selenium, choline and trimethylglycine, extra virgin olive oil, turmeric, broccoli sprouts. Specifically, sulforaphane is a strong glutathione booster. Ginger, MSM, the sulfur compound, garlic, resveratrol, melatonin, quercetin, SAMe, vitamin B12, and pine bark extract. So it's a long list, but the big ones are the vitamins, the whey protein, lipoic acid, milk thistle. And selenium is a good one, but you can't take too much selenium. So you have to be careful with selenium. You got to get the dose right. If you take too much, it's actually bad for you. The best way, though, is to do both. To take a glutathione supplement, take the Citria glutathione supplement, and then take some of the glutathione boosters. And vitamins D3, C, and E you're going to be taking anyway, should be taking anyways. And whey protein, lipoic acid, milk thistle, and I'd go down the list there to sulforaphane, broccoli sprouts, are excellent glutathione boosters. The next endogenous antioxidant we're going to talk about is coenzyme Q10. Most people have heard coenzyme Q10. It's a very popular supplement. Now, coenzyme Q10 is a powerful antioxidant, but its primary function is in the cellular energy production. It is a critical component of the mitochondria that are present in practically every cell in our body. Mitochondria may in fact be considered as fuel cells, where biological energy called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, is produced. So the mitochondria is like your coal-fired power plant that produces electricity. It's within a cell, and raw materials are fed in there to produce energy, and the energy is called ATP. And coenzyme is a cofactor in producing this cellular energy. In fact, I cannot take too much coenzyme Q10 because it actually makes me hyper, or it burns me out. It actually causes too much energy. So for me, a 30 milligram dose is plenty. Now, in addition to that cellular energy production, coenzyme Q10 is a potent antioxidant. Now, it's not as potent as the other two antioxidants we considered. These come down a significant step. The endogenous antioxidant enzymes, SOD, CAT, and GPX, and glutathione, those are very, very, very potent antioxidants. CoQ10 falls in the category of just being a potent antioxidant. But nonetheless, it is a potent antioxidant. It helps protect the tissues and the cellular components in the body from free radical damage. The endogenous synthesis of CoQ10 happens to be a very complex process, requiring numerous vitamins such as B6, B12, folic acid, niacinamide, which is pantothenic acid, vitamin C, and certain trace elements. So basically, a good diet, in addition with a good multivitamin mineral, supports the body's production of CoQ10. However, having said that, we will soon see that CoQ10 declines with age, as is the story in most things of life. Now, this chart is an important chart from a study which looked at the tissue levels of coenzyme Q10 in the liver, the lungs, the kidneys, and the heart as we age. And at 20 years old, it was given an arbitrary level of 100%, so everything was measured relative to the 20-year-old levels. And as you can see, at the four tissues, the liver, the lungs, the kidney, and the heart, you will see that why coenzyme Q10 has become known as the cardiovascular supplement is because it's in the heart that it diminishes the most. You can see at age 40, you're down to 68% of coenzyme 10 in your heart, and by age 80, you're down to about 43%. So that's why it's really become known as a cardiovascular nutrient. However, it's not restricted only to the heart. As you can see in the kidneys, by the age 80, you're down to 51%, and lungs 65%. So it's a vital nutrient that's in many parts of your body, but it's the heart is the one that needs it the most. And that is why after age 40, or even possibly even younger, you should start supplementing with coenzyme Q10. And the level of coenzyme Q10 that you supplement with should probably be a function of your age. As you get older, you may need more. And this was a very important study, and it's very clearly shows the loss of coenzyme Q10 in the tissue as we age. Now, how can we boost our levels of coenzyme Q10? First of all, we go back to the basics. We look at food. And here's a chart showing the food content, the coenzyme Q10 content of various foods. Coenzyme Q10 is mainly an animal nutrient. It's found in animal products. You can see the ones that have the highest, like 3 ounces of beef has 2.6 milligrams, herring, chicken. And you can see that as you get down to the veggies and the fruits, you really don't have any. So vegetarians should especially be concentrating on eating, well, if they're not going to eat meat, they're should be concentrating on more supplementation. This chart just shows you a comparison of if you took a 30 milligram supplement of coenzyme Q10, what you would have to eat to get the corresponding amount. Now, as you can see, if you ate a pound of sardines, you would get 30 milligrams. 2.5 pounds of herring, 2 pounds of beef, 2.5 pounds of peanuts, 30 cups of broccoli, and 30 tablespoons of canola oil. It just puts the 30 milligram supplement in perspective with respect to food. So a 30 milligram supplement is probably a good level to start at. It depends on what age you're at, but you may want to go higher if you need it. Okay, the next endogenous antioxidant we're going to look at is lipoic acid. Lipoic acid has an unusual property, is that it is both water soluble and fat soluble, and because of this, it is easily absorbed and transported into many organs and systems within the body, for example, the brain, the liver, and the nerves. One of the nice things about lipoic acid is that it helps to regenerate vitamins C, E. It helps amplify the other antioxidants such as glutathione and coenzyme Q10. So by taking lipoic acid, not only do you boost lipoic acid in your body, but you boost other antioxidants, which is a very nice property of it. The lipoic acid plays a critical role in the mitochondria. If you remember, those are the energy cells of your energy producing factories of your cells. And anytime you produce energy, you create free radicals. These are normal processes. but they have to be dealt with, and lipoic acid plays a big role in reducing the oxidative stress produced in the mitochondria. Lipoic acid is manufactured synthetically. It comes inherently as part of the manufacturing process. It's created in two forms. Just it's part of the natural process of the manufacturing process. It's the R form and the S form. Now the R form is the only form that's native to your body. The S form just happens to be a mirror image of the R form, which occurs as part of the manufacturing process. So when you see a product that has alpha lipoic acid of, let's say, 100 milligrams, it'll only contain typically 50 milligrams of the R isomer and 50 milligrams of the S isomer. The best thing you should do is actually buy a lipoic acid that is called R lipoic acid, which means it only contains the R form, and the R form is the only form that's native to your body. The S form is not native to your body. It's a foreign compound, and whether it does any good or harm, we're not quite sure, so don't mess with it. Just buy R lipoic acid. The exact mechanisms of how lipoic acid levels decline with age and in various progressive diseases is unknown. We do know it kind of declines with age. I don't have a study that actually shows it clearly, although if you go through the internet, you'll see that it's repeated over and over again that it does. And also, they found that in many studies, and this is not only lipoic acid but other antioxidants, if you looked at people with diseases, they found that they had lower levels of lipoic acid in them. And there's two ways of looking at this. It could be that the disease is draining their stores of lipoic acid, and that's why it's going down, or inherently, because they're older, they make less lipoic acid and it's inviting more disease into them. So it's probably the truth lies somewhere in the middle. It's probably both. Your antioxidants, endogenous antioxidants, go down with age, and that invites diseases in. The diseases, once in, will further deplete your endogenous antioxidants, and it's a vicious cycle. It goes further down. Now, how can you boost your lipoic acid levels? First of all, let's look at food. Food contains negligible amounts of lipoic acid. It's measured in the microgram range. So realistically, you cannot boost your lipoic acid through eating more of certain foods. The only way to really boost lipoic acid is through a supplement. And in supplements, it's measured in they come in tens of milligrams, and usually the lowest dose you'll find is 50 milligrams. And they go up 50 to 100, 150, 200, 300 milligrams, whereas foods only contain microgram ranges. Now, I don't think you should go up to that high a level unless you're under a doctor's care or who knows about it, but a lipoic acid supplement in the 0 to 50 milligram range is probably a very good idea. The next antioxidant, endogenous antioxidant we're going to look at is melatonin. Now, melatonin is a powerful and versatile antioxidant produced within the body. It has the ability to protect both lipids and proteins against damage, and it can scavenge some of the most dangerous free radicals in the body, including the hydroxyl radicals and hydrogen peroxide. Unlike other antioxidants, melatonin easily diffuses into all cells and even crosses the blood-brain barrier to protect the delicate brain. This is one aspect of melatonin that a lot of people may not be familiar with. They're all familiar with melatonin the hormone being helping you with your sleep cycle. And that's what people know. But melatonin is also a very powerful antioxidant. And another thing people may not know is that the brain is the organ that requires the most energy of all your body parts. Roughly, if I remember right, about 20% of the energy you produce per day is required in your brain. And by definition, if you have energy production, you have free radicals. And these are the hydroxyl radicals and the hydrogen peroxide. And melatonin plays a big role in that. So keep in mind melatonin, in addition to being a sleep aid, is a powerful antioxidant, especially for your brain. And bullet number 2, we find the usual thing that melatonin levels decline with advancing age, and this leaves older adults with limited antioxidant protection against conditions associated with oxidative stress, particularly neurodegenerative diseases. Basically stating the same thing. As you get older, your melatonin drops. With less antioxidant protection in your brain, it opens up your brain to neurodegenerative diseases. Supplementing with melatonin may thus help older adults enhance their antioxidant protection against some of the most ravaging diseases of aging, such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and stroke. This slide is an important slide, and where a study was done to evaluate the serum melatonin versus age. They broke it up into 4 age groups: the 20 to 35 age group, 35 to 50, 50 to 70, and 70 to 90. Arbitrarily, the 20 to 35 group was given the 100% value, so everything was measured relative to that. Now you can see from this chart, it's pretty clear that once you get into your 50s, your melatonin production drops very sharply. It's almost half, it's 55%. You get even older into your 70s and 80s, you're down to 32%. This is one of the major reasons, if not the major reason, you find older adults having difficulty sleeping and staying asleep. So there's absolutely no doubt whatsoever that your melatonin after the age of 50 is dropping like a rock. So how do you boost your melatonin levels? Okay, let's look at food first. This chart shows the melatonin content in nanograms per gram. Now you got to remember, nanograms is 10 to the minus 9 of a gram. It's extremely, extremely small. And you only get high quantities in these exotic things, St. John's wort flour, etc. The only real food that starts appearing there is that sunflower seeds, where you get 29 nanograms per gram. And that's peanuts. I mean, if you multiply that by eating 100 grams, you're up to 2,900 nanograms, which is only 2.9 micrograms. Okay, so it's very, very small quantity. Realistically, you cannot get it from food. The only choice you have is to get it from a melatonin supplement.